you're looking to understand Patanjali Yoga Sutra 1.3, this video is for you. What's up fam? Today we're going to be understanding Patanjali Yoga Sutra 1.3. Now as mentioned before, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras are 195 Sanskrit aphorisms that basically describe and encapsulate the practice of yoga. Now coming from there, today we're going to understand Yoga Sutra 1.3, which is the third sutra of the first chapter, also known as Pad, in Samadhi Pad from Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. So let's get into understanding this one. Now this sutra goes as Tada Drashtu Svarupe Avasthanam. Once again, Tada Drashtu Svarupe Avasthanam. Now obviously this is a little complicated because it's in Sanskrit, but we're going to break it down word by word. So Tada means then this happens. So that's Tada. Drashtu means a seer or a witness or someone that's witnessing something. Tada Drashtu Svarupe. Svarup means your own form. Swa means own and Rup means form. And Avasthanam means established or re-established. So to get Avasthanam is to get re-established. So now if we read the whole thing in English, it means once the yogi has learned to control, so once the yogi has done what Yoga Sutra 1.2 had mentioned, then that yogi will take on the form of the seer or the witness and be re-established in his or her original form once again. So this is the basic meaning of the sutra. Now of course there's a heavy explanation on it which is really important for us to go into. So the explanation for this has been taken from the commentary given by Dr. P.V. Karambelkar in this book Patanjali Yoga Sutras, published by the Kaivalyadhama Yoga Institute. And we're going to be understanding it from that perspective. Now firstly, if you haven't already seen Yoga Sutra 1.2, I'm going to link the video here and you should definitely check that out. That sutra explains the definition of yoga, and this sutra is a continuation of that definition. Now, the definition says that yoga is the process of reducing the mind waves or reducing the amount of thoughts we're having and clearing our head and making it free of thoughts. Then Patanjali says that if we're able to do this, what will happen is we will return to the form of being a witness and get re-established as who we originally were. Now, this relates very closely to the Samkhya theory, which is also one of the core philosophies of Indian literature and Indian philosophy. And this philosophy believes that there are two key elements that each human or any living entity is made up of. And that is basically your spiritual matter, which is known as a spiritual substance, which is known as Purusha, and the physical matter, which is known as Prakriti. So that is, if we are to take a human body, for example, then our biological and physiological functioning is the Prakriti, and the spiritual or soul entity or that energy substance inside of us is the Purusha. Now, what this sutra is trying to explain to us is that when we get completely clear in the state of yoga, we start to return to the state of Purusha or that spiritual soul entity substance. Now, obviously, that's extremely difficult to do, and Dr. P.V. Karambelkar even goes one step further to explain that it's not really the spiritual entity or the Purusha that we're trying to tap into, rather it is the chitta. Now what is chitta? I know this can get a little confusing, but stay with me. Chitta is basically the point at which this Prakriti, the physical matter and the spiritual matter intersect. So that is usually where the fluctuations of the mind are created, and there is no direct translation of the word chitta in the English language. So when Patanjali says that we're going to return to our original form, what he means is that we're going to become a witness in this chitta. So we're going to watch our thought waves from a distance and be mindful of them. Okay, this is a thought that's coming in my head, fine, okay, cool. So not identifying with that thought wave but taking a step back from it is the process of yoga, and that is what Patanjali explains in Yoga Sutra 1.3. Now, although he does say that this chitta is most easily identifiable as the witness, a lot of us still refer to Purusha as being the witness. So it's entirely up to you which commentary you like to prefer to go with. But for sake of ease and for sake of better understanding, we are going to stick with the chitta and understanding that that is where the witness gets created, because on its own, the spiritual substance can't really do anything because it has nowhere to reside within. And the physical matter is not going to be alive if there's no spiritual or electrical or spiritual substance making it come alive. So therefore, on its own, spiritual matter can't really do much. On its own, physical matter can't really do much. But the point where they meet, where the chitta is created, is the point that we're going to term as the witness. So I hope that this has made this sutra clear for you. Once again, the sutra is Tada Drashtu Svarupe Avasthanam. Now, please keep this in mind when you're actually doing your yogic practice, and think about, if you have to actually become this witness in your yogasana practice, then shouldn't you be minimizing as many distractions as you can externally and stay completely focused on your internal world? It's only then that you can really take on this form of a witness and be in sync with Patanjali's Yoga Sutras and really carry them forward. So reflect on your own yogic practice and try and see what Patanjali has said and what you're actually doing. And if you are minimizing distractions, not really listening to too much music, being completely with your breath and in your inner world, then you're probably doing it as per Patanjali's recommendations. But if you have a lot of distractions, maybe you would like to minimize them just to be closer to what the initial explanation of yoga was. And although yoga changes and reinvents itself over time, there are some things that we should try not to dilute. As Swami Kaivalyadhama ji, the founder of Kaivalyadhama, rightly said, if the institute that he created called Kaivalyadhama goes to nothing, he does not mind, but yoga should not be diluted. And we're all in this effort to make sure that yoga does not get diluted. So I hope this has made sense to you and that it adds value to your yogic practice. And I will see you next on Self Help Saturday. Until then, take care and keep lasting.